Howdy, Matthew Bisgotti here. Welcome back to the channel. This is talking about DRIP today and the Piggy Bank Animal Farm, all that ecosystem, and what's going on with the Animal Farm launch. Now, again, this is one of those videos. I'm essentially covering some Telegram posts, some updates from Forex Shark, the developer for Animal Farm, Piggy Bank, and all of that, and DRIP, as you know. If you're already in Telegram, I should say, these updates have already really been covered. If you're driving or whatever else and you're listening to this, I'm going to read through these updates from Forex. There's a couple over the last few days. I'll get to the most important part first, and then obviously if that's not interesting to you, join into the Telegram. Go sign up for this Forex Shark calls. That's his update channel, and you'll have all these updates as well if you'd like to read through them yourself. If you join my Telegram group, I'll link to it so you don't have to go hunting for it. Yep. So without further ado, what are the last updates from Forex Shark, the developer? So regarding the launch, which we know did not go ahead as planned, he says, below I will post our launch plan for Pigs, Pigpen, Piggy Bank. It's rather extensive, so I'm breaking this announcement into several posts. We took this as an opportunity to improve everything, including the UI, which is something I've always wanted to improve on, and now the changes we have made to improve our development process has allowed for it. So Dogs Token and Dogs Master Chef contracts need to be updated to have PancakeSwap version 2 syrup pools integration. And just a side note from me, that is essentially there was a version 1 and version 2 of PancakeSwap for some of the mechanisms in their system and website. Version 1, which I don't think Forex Shark thought was going to be a problem to stay on, stopped emissions, so stopped paying out on some of their contracts with staking or what have you, and I suppose that's where the dogs were. So that's why we're now having this migration of dogs, which wasn't originally planned. Back to Forex, he says, Dog's primary use case is as a vehicle to earn pigs. This means that the value of dogs is largely derived from the value of pigs. Due to this logic, we want to do everything in our power to make pigs as valuable as possible before dogs goes live, and that way dogs tokens will have high demand right from the start. And even though dogs and dogs master chef contracts are the only contracts which require version 2 syrup integration, it was still extremely important that we launch Pigs, Pigpen, and Piggy Bank with forward compatibility. So when the dog contracts are ready, we can plug the pig contracts without difficulty and then allow for the whole system to operate together smoothly. So this is why we could not immediately launch the pig contract without doing some development on them first. So he wants to make them compatible with dogs without having to work on them later after he's moved the dogs into the version 2. The plan moving forward is to finish all of the Pigs, Pigpen, and Piggy Bank development this week and go live with it next week. So that's the important part I said I was going to touch on first. That was on the April 25th that he posted that. So if we were to glance at the calendar, which I'm doing now, 25th is still essentially this week. I mean, that was on Monday. So we might be, let's say, if true to his schedules and true to his word here, which I know he's just giving an estimate, maybe we'll see something by the 5th as far as a launch. I'm not going to count on any of that, but that's what he's kind of indicating here. Yeah, go live with it next week. He says, we'll then go live with the rest of the Animal Farm contract shortly after, within a couple weeks. This way, the Pigs token has time to build immense value before Dogs tokens are unpaused, which in turn creates high demand for the Dogs token right from the start. If you recall, he's using dogs similar to how he was using BRIP, Binance REAP token on the Binance Smart Chain. He was using that as the requirement. You had to hold some of that to have referrals in the DRIP faucet. So he's doing something similar here where dogs have to be held to have those referrals in the piggy bank when that goes live. So that's what he's talking about here, is that there'll be an incentive to have dogs once they're unpaused if the pigs token is already kind of exploded upward. And then he's talking about his plan on how the pigs, piggy bank, and pen migration and crediting will go. So he says he's going to launch Pigs, Piggy Bank, and Pigpen at the same time. Users who had Pigs LP in the Piggy Bank, So if you had anything staked in the piggy bank, you're going to get credited in the piggy bank, as he's already gone over, and this will require no actions on your part. But if you had pigs and pigs LP in your wallet, which is less than 3% of the pigs anyway, he said he will be able to credit those to the wallet. So the version 2 tokens will just be airdropped to you into your wallet if you didn't have them staked. He said the only people who needed to use the crediting dashboard are those who had pigs in the pig pen. If you had pigs in the pig pen when everything was paused, he says you'll have two options. So this is if you were in the pig pen when everything was paused. So you can send the BUSD to the credit. You can send BUSD to the credit contract, and then the credit contract will pair this with your allocated pigs, and then utilize the gift stake function to make a stake in the piggy bank for you. And the UI on the credit contract allows time lockings, just like the piggy bank. So sounds like you could send in BUSD to pair with the pigs that you had in the piggy bank, or I'm sorry, in the pig pen. And then this will basically create an LP token for you and deposit them in the piggy bank for you. And you can choose what your time lock will be, just like you were on the piggy bank page. So if you can, he also restates here, which we already know, if you credit or deposit into the piggy bank in the first 48 hours, you're going to get that 20% bonus. If you credit deposit this way, submitting the BUSD to create the LP token, you're also still going to get that 20% bonus, the same as people who deposit fresh capital in the first 48 hours. So that's option one. You can do that if you had anything in the pig pen when it was paused. So option two, he says you can credit it to the pig pen. So if you credit it to the pig pen, you'll start earning 3% of the pig pen's BUSD balance every day, which is worth millions of BUSD right now. And on top of this, we have added another cash flow into the pig pen, which is extremely attractive and will be generating millions of dollars worth of dividends for pig pen stakers as soon as the pig pen goes live. This new cash flow is pigs, which are generated from piggy bank deposit/withdrawal fees. So these pigs will be sent to the pig pen and then used as rewards to the pig pen stakers. So piggy bank deposit/withdrawal fees, those are going to be sent to the pig pen, kind of into the pool there, and that's going to also reward you if you're in the pig pen. So he's adding some extra incentive to the pig pen payouts to make it a little more attractive. It wasn't as much as people hoped, I think, originally. So there's some good news there if you were in the pig pen and like the pig pen or want to get in after this unpauses. He says users can use the crediting dashboard, which I assume this will be another tab here on the left side, like the pigs credits. He said you can use the crediting dashboard to choose how much pigs you want to send to Pigpen and how much you want credited to the piggy bank. So you can diversify if you choose. You don't have to move all your Pigpen stuff that you had in there at pause. You don't have to put it all in one spot. So you can split it up here and there. And then when Animal Farm goes fully live, which he says when they migrate for the version 2, Pancake Swap, Syrup Pool integration, when Animal Farm goes fully live, BUSD will continue to be generated for the Pigpen dividends from the Animal Farm deposit fees, as well as taxes on dogs, but there's improved logic that's going to increase the BUSD cash flow. So here's another way he's talking about BUSD is going to generate more than it used to. So he's making that whole little spot on the site more lucrative. He says on top of this, Pigpen dividends will continue to be generated for Pigpen from the piggy bank fees. To ensure Pigs goes live with game theory that is extremely bullish, and to further instill that Pigpen represents ownership of Animal Farm, he's going to be making an improvement to the time lock mechanism. So just like the majority owners of a traditional industry have utilized vested shares to ensure the integrity of the platform and its underlying assets, so will Pigpen. So Pigpen balances will be time locked, with 2% of the balance being made available to withdraw daily. So let's say you get in the Pigpen, you throw $500 in there, 2% you can pull back out daily, but you're not going to be able to pop in, pop out. Like Pigpen is supposed to represent kind of a joint ownership of the Animal Farm, this whole ecosystem here. So he wants you to be able to just pull out a little bit at a time, makes the Pigpen portion more sustainable. And shows your commitment to being that partial owner, so to speak, the way he's presenting this. That's what he wants to do there on that page where he has the proposals and people vote on improvements and changes, things like that. So that's all part of that mechanism. He's adding that time locking where you can only take out a certain amount of the pig pen at a time. Not like some of the farms where you can just hop in and out willy-nilly. And Forex goes on to say that with these new and innovative pig pen mechanics, not only will it be generating way more value than it did in the version 1 model, but it's also way more bullish for pigs, considering that 90% of pigs will be locked up at launch, and it'll be highly deflationary, and the incentive to lock up is for the yield is stronger than ever. Yeah, especially I would add myself. I would add for Pigpen especially. Sounds like Pigpen is going to get boosts in a couple of ways. More fees and deposit fees and withdrawal fees going into the pool to pay out for that, along with everything else that was mentioned there. Below it's a video, the new UI, visual representation of how it operates. Interesting. So he's demonstrating some new UI work here. This is probably pretty small on your screen. Let me see if I can share this window directly and blow this up a little. All right, great. So let's take a look at this new UI. Looks pretty clean is my first impression here. A lot easier to navigate. I see some nice slide work there on the main page. A little more attractive when you first click in. And then, yeah, there's the Pigs credit page. I like that kind of reactive pop-ups there. I don't know if they're actually using React, by the way, to code that, but I like that. That's really nice. Very quick and responsive, and yeah, those pop-ups are easier to see, where they just kind of show the messaging down below. So that's clean. I like that. And remember that Forex is also working on a new UI for the for DRIP as a whole. So couple of good updates there, we should say, regarding UIs anyway. Something that looks cleaner, something that doesn't look sketchy is going to be more attractive to new investors, new capital coming in, which is always good for our purposes of wanting these systems to succeed. So other than the UI, he's shared a few Medium articles and just explaining those improvements above in case those were kind of hard to understand. So yeah, so he's done that. There's some links to a couple voice chats he's done. He's done a few AMAs that I didn't catch live. They were on other on other YouTubers' channels, things like that. There wasn't much else in the way of updates. He did have one other one about he said he's added a lot of improvements to Animal Farm, but he's just not gone into all of the updates yet. He's trying to be careful about overwhelming people with details. I'm guessing because he gets bombarded with questions about every little segment that he releases. Let's see. So in this update here, he's saying that in version 1 Animal Farm, this is one of the improvements, by the way. He says in version 1 of Animal Farm, there was a 3% dogs tax, which was allocated to provide liquidity to dogs/BUSD LP tokens. And it would first send dogs from the 3% tax to the liquidity helper vault. 25% of the BUSD from deposit fees are also sent to this liquidity helper vault, and when the amount of BUSD in the vault goes over a certain threshold, the liquidity helper contract pairs up that BUSD and dogs in the vault to add BUSD liquidity to the dogs token. And he says if there was an uneven amount of dogs or BUSD, the helper contract, would use some of the BUSD on the vault to buy dogs, or sell some of the dogs for BUSD, and then once there was an equal value of the two assets, it would pair them into the LP token, the LP pool. So he says he made an improvement on this. He says in version 2, there's never a scenario where it actually adds sell pressure to dogs, which is good. He was saying sometimes it would sell dogs, so it can only add buy pressure on this new version. He says if there's an uneven value of dogs or BUSD on the liquidity helper contract when the threshold's hit, then the contract will use some of the BUSD to buy dogs, creating an equal value of the two, and then pair them up, or it'll burn some of the dogs. So burning is different than selling. It can actually help drive the price up, the value up of a token, and that creates an equal value of dogs and BUSD, and then they pair them up to add liquidity to the dogs BUSD pool. So he says it's not only a major innovation, but it's extremely bullish for dogs, and it'll add a lot more buy pressure and relieve a lot of the sell pressure. So dogs are going to be highly deflationary, and it's going to drive that value up. And he says, when we go live with V2, we are not just pushing the same contracts with new syrup pool integration. We've taken what we learned from V1 and the opportunity to deploy new contracts as a major opportunity to improve the protocol in ways that will make a substantial difference in the performance of this native token and of the native tokens in general. As we get closer to launch date, I'll be sharing more of the huge improvements we've made. This is a big deal. Puppy dog emoji rocket ship. Yeah, not a lot of other updates in here regarding Animal Farm. So, based on what he's saying there, our new estimation as far as a launch date is this upcoming week. So this was the week he first made the update. Upcoming week is when he was estimating. That doesn't mean it's going to happen then, not at all, but it is speculation at this point, and it's the best guess that we have. Now, by the way, all of this really ties in to why DRIP is down, if you were wondering that today. By the way, that was a really impressive run, I think, the way they were holding on, over 30 for, that was basically a whole month there before we started dropping. Now, I'll tell you what that drop corresponds with. That drop corresponds with essentially the Animal Farm launch not happening. So everyone was hyped up, and then he probably lost more people who were about to invest, like myself specifically. I know as an example, I took money out of the Drip Garden. I took that money out of there. I claimed and I sold. So I even created some sell pressure myself, and other people may have had that idea, which I mentioned to you guys early on when Animal Farm was about to launch. All those launches of those other ecosystems do create more sell pressure on DRIP because people who are already, the majority of the people who want to get an Animal Farm already knew about DRIP. They were already excited for that, and they wanted to get in on this new protocol, this new system. And when they tried to do that, they were probably taking money out of the old systems. So, I mean, it's already making money. Why not, right? Why not claim a few days and then have that free capital to throw into the Animal Farm? So, with the first snafu of locking up funds for, say, a month in the Animal Farm, people didn't end up having profits to go back to Drip Faucet with. They would have put more money back in the Drip, I'm pretty certain. And then here again, they took money out and they were waiting for a launch, for an unpause, and it didn't happen. And so that hurts sentiment. It hurts trust in the system. And so those people who claimed or hadn't been claiming, maybe they're claiming more now. That causes a negative sentiment, and it causes more sell pressure, and that's just how that works. They didn't put any money back in. They were waiting on a launch, and then it didn't happen. Overall, I'm still bullish in this system because I'm looking at the long term, and this sentiment for these protocols changes on a dime. So if the long-term sustainability of the project still looks good, and we're just missing new capital because something hasn't launched, and they're putting money elsewhere until this actually launches and goes live, completely understand and would expect the token to drop. And I'll say this again, but in the next video, because I want to make one more specifically, a shorter one about this price drop. But I've said that in previous videos numerous times that we may see a return down to those lowest rates. So that's why I had that blue highlight here, because that's where we were steadiest after launch, was all of these down around, what was it, $6, $7, $20, like this $20 range. I've said it and I'll keep saying it. If we go down to this, say 24 to 7, that range, I'm not surprised. It makes sense to me with all the whales hitting their max payouts and doing nothing but claiming until they finish out their big wallets they had. All these things add up anyway. But there's enough improvements with Drip and these launches with the Animal Farm that I'm not super worried about it still. But obviously, even in stocks, things like that, let's say there's like buy, sell, hold type ratings. I'm kind of holding right now. I mean, to be fair, I don't have, say, as much play money sitting around. I don't have 50K sitting around like some people do to throw into these projects. If I had a little more free, maybe I'd say buy, but I'm not saying buy a lot. I'm not saying 100% allocate to Drip or anything. There's no guarantee ever on any of these projects that they'll come back up. But my personal thoughts on it are still that even if we drop down to those lower rates, I would expect that. And after Animal Farm gets up and running for a few months, I expect that raise again. I expect that to climb steadily back upwards. Faith in the project and the protocol as a whole be restored. Why? Because even though there were inconveniences and snafus and developer issues along the way, things that were missed, there's not been a rug pull at that time, which it doesn't look like to me any indication there would be. So at that point, we're sitting pretty at really low prices. We've had an protocol that's ran over a year, still sustaining itself, if at lower prices, and then we would have had a launch of a new part of the ecosystem from the same developer. And once that's been running for a few months, that sentiment and trust and everything just shoots straight back up because there's been no scam at that point, right? And everyone's gonna rush back in and put money into it and ride the wave back upwards. And I hope we hit those all time highs again, 160, 140, 130, somewhere in there. So that's still my prediction. That's not changed for me, even if we drop down to like $6. If it does go down to like $6, by the way, I am buying a good bit more. That's really how I view this. That would just be too attractive for me not to. And the long term nature of this project, that just makes sense to me. So that's been kind of an overview of Forex Shark's updates from Telegram. If you're not in there, now you know. And hope you catch you guys on the next video. If this is helpful or informative, definitely like and subscribe. Join my Telegram down in the description there. I should be the last link in the description, I think. Hop in there and we can chat, offer advice if anyone knows the answer to your question. And as always, I can refer you over to other Telegram chats that are even smarter than I am about all of this, which isn't too hard to do. But I will see you guys on the next video. Hope everyone's staying safe out there. Thanks for watching.